how to be dominant towards women to cause arousal in them, to awaken desire in them, okay? If you feel like women see you as a friend, they tell you, let's just be friends, or sometimes you can't, or you have trouble arousing women sexually, it might be because you don't know what we're going to be talking about today. It might be because you don't have access to your real dominance. Okay, so this is what we're going to be unraveling today. I'm going to give you a guide on how to do this, which is fairly easy. It's, well, easier said than done. And if you feel like you're getting value out of this video and you want to explore dominance further or any other topic further, grab the link from the description down below. It will take you straight to our community where you will find all the tools that you need to start attracting amazing, super high quality girls. And with that said, I want to kick off this video with a little bit of a story. So this is how I found my own personal dominant side. I had this girlfriend at the time, and the way I was having sex until then was fairly vanilla, just nothing out of the ordinary, nothing too exotic, if you will. And then this girl just, decided to open up to me and tell me or start demanding that I choke her and I slap her and I become a little bit more rough in bed. So naturally, because I am fairly open-minded by nature, I obliged. And I also, I wanted to explore that side of me. I said absolutely yes, and, I started experimenting with that. I started kind of going that way and being a little more dominant, a little more rough in bed. And it was kind of a cool experience because the way that, the adventure started, I guess I was fairly clunky and awkward with, the choking and the spanking and whatnot. But eventually that just paved the path for me to reconnect with my own real dominant side. And I understood that this is something that was suppressed at a young age, because we are all, like you watching this video, you're fucking dominant. You just don't know it, because mostly our environment discourages that side of us. So we kind of like put it in the Jungian shadow, if you will. We sweep it under the rug, put it aside, and kind of bury it and try to like not access it. Or not even try to not, like we just like forget that it exists. And years later, I got reacquainted with mine, and I rekindled, not rekindled, but like remade that connection with my dominant side. And now in bed, I am absolutely dominant. I'm dominant outside bed as well, as a human, as a man, and where it needs to be, because this is not like I go around during my day just like dominating everybody, because there's always a time and a place for that. But what I'm trying to say is that, the way that I choked and slapped this girl on day one, maybe on paper I still choke and slap, but it comes from a completely different place, and it expresses like a real authentic energy in me, and people receive it in a different way. But even though, on paper it might even look the same. So, moral of the story, don't be afraid to experiment, and stay true to yourself, really. So here's what we're going to be talking about today. Number one, what dominance is not. That's kind of like the most important bit, okay. Number two, why dominance is so attractive to girls. Number three, what dominance actually is. And number four, the most coveted, how to actually be dominant. Let's start. What dominance is not. Dominance is not some force, or you trying to impose some kind of opinion, or you trying to like domineer over people. That is not dominance. That dominance is an authentic energy. And if you're doing something that like you might have seen online, or that somebody told you, or maybe you saw in a porn movie, generally, like the rule of thumb is if you're trying to emulate or copy something when it comes to dominance, you're absolutely doing it wrong. In fact, if you're waiting to be dominant until the last moment in the bedroom, it's already too late. Dominance is definitely not anger. It's not the scene in Wolf of Wall Street where Leo DiCaprio gets dominated by the dominatrix and she's like yelling at him. Okay, this is not what dominance is. It's not yanking the girl by the hair and spanking her because you saw it in a movie. And it's not force. There is no force required to be dominant. You don't have to pressure or press or anything like that, okay? Physically or otherwise, or emotionally or intellectually. And there is no violence involved either. That is not dominance. So all of these notions, forget it. Dominance, again, is not something that you emulate or copy. So every time you feel like you want to express some negative emotion, this is not the time to try to be dominant. In fact, if you're trying to be dominant, you're doing it wrong. Okay. That'll make a little bit more sense in a minute. So, why is dominance so attractive? Why is dominance so attractive to women? Number one, women have evolved to look for the more dominant guys. And the truth is, you might find women in the club kind of like telling you that, nah, we're civilized, we would never do that. But what they actually respond to, like if you see them actually acting in a club or in a more tribal environment or setting, you will absolutely see that the women flock toward the more dominant guy. And that makes absolute sense because the more dominant guy for hundreds of thousands of years was the guy that survived best. So women want to give themselves and their offspring the best probability for survival. And that is by aligning with a more dominant guy or with the most dominant guy. And all of that is completely innate and completely unconscious. This is an unconscious process that women don't have a lot of conscious control over unless they really dive into it consciously. Okay. And nobody does that these days. So as a rule of thumb, dominant guys get the girls. So number one, it's about fucking survival. That's why it's so fucking attractive. But number two, there is a huge emotional component to it. And the emotional component is this. It's the duality, control, and relief. So, especially today, a lot of girls have to have a lot of control in life. They have to have control in their job, relationships, personal life, friendships. I'm not going to get into why that is, but what I'm trying to say is that the last place where a woman wants to exert control, wants to exercise control, wants to be in charge, is her relationship and in bed. Okay, so if a girl is able to trust you 100%, and by that I mean not because of your words, but because of your actions, not because of what you're saying, but because of what you're truly fucking doing, like in what's the word? And in an implicit way, if she trusts you like that, then she knows that if you have 100% control, she can let go. So dominance is what gives women, and if they're honest with themselves, they're going to admit it too, the sentiment and the emotion of relief. This is what it's about. Like when a girl gets dominated properly in an authentic way, you will see it in her face that she's finally relieved. Okay, that is why dominance is so attractive, because it's about trusting you and it's about you allowing them to be 100% in their feminine. Okay, it's about you allowing her to be herself, to be unjudged, to be completely fucking understood, to feel accepted, to feel loved, and to feel 100% safe. If she feels that, as she's getting dominated, that's what's going to cause her to be sexually aroused. She's going to be able to be in her feminine, and she's going to be able to let go, and she's going to be able to just be uncontrollably aroused. That is why dominance is so fucking attractive. You get it? So let's go into what dominance actually is. And like I said, dominance is ultimate control. Okay, so there's always, so it's you being 100% in charge, unambiguously and unequivocally. Okay, so what is it? There's always elements of duality when we have attraction. When we have two polar opposites, they attract each other because there's two of them. There's like the plus and the minus. There's one thing and its opposite. So dominance gives the couple or the system the chance to display its A and B properties. It's like plus and minus properties. And a girl can be physically dominated. For instance, there was these two girls that took me back to their hotel room this one night. And in fact, while we were at the fucking elevator, I pretended to walk away, and they just like grabbed me. They almost like fucking kidnapped me. And this girl, like, she had no experience with being dominated, but like, she did feel her desire to be dominated, so she asked me to pin her down. So I did this. I pinned her down. She was unable to move for a couple of seconds. And there you really fucking saw, first of all, the relief that I was talking about before. And you also saw like the duality between like me overpowering her because of my physical capability as a man compared to like my equivalent woman. Because I didn't try to pin down like a UFC fighter or anything, right? Where like one is like physically very strong, the other is physically weaker. And you see that duality. Of course, don't try this shit at home. This is not, this is not for beginners. And of course, always be aware of feedback. And if the girl seems like she's not having a good time, I would have released her. In fact, the master is to like take the step back before she even feels uncomfortable, okay? But that's for a different video. I've made other videos about that, and I will keep making other videos about that as well. But the duality is what's really important. Emotional duality, ultimate control versus ultimate giving up of control, ultimate relaxation. Because like control comes with burden, right? Control comes with responsibility. Okay, so, or intellectually, if you dominate a girl intellectually in conversation and you display to her that you're actually wiser than her, in a twisted way, she gets a little bit aroused. She gets a little bit attracted to you, okay? So the last thing I want to touch on here about what dominance is power versus force. So in like a couple of slides ago, we saw that it's definitely not force. So what it is actual power. It's like the lion that doesn't have to assert his dominance because he's got the power, okay? It's not like the wolf or the hyena that has to like hustle. So, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit later as well. But ultimately dominance, and this is the most important bit of how to understand what dominance is split into two parts. The first part is awareness, okay? It's a vision of how things should be, and it's a real understanding of what you truly want, like what brings you truly in alignment. And the second bit is assertion, is like bringing that vision to life. And as a final side note, dominance is freedom from the ego. It's real pure love. It's pure wisdom and pure love. This is what dominance actually is. Okay. It's respecting the girl's desire to be dominated if she feels so. Okay. So let's this is still a little abstract, but I feel that we're going to tie it all together right here. So how to be dominant. The first bit is awareness, okay? You need to be really, truly fucking aware of exactly what it is you want. The issue is, and that's one of the most important reasons why you can't be dominant today, you haven't been dominant up to today, is because you don't have that full awareness. It's you knowing exactly 100% what you want, how you want to be, how you want everything around you to be, how you want everyone around you to be, and what you want them to do. It's like an exact awareness of everything, like exactly how you want it. To get that awareness, if you don't have it, number one, you need to develop and cultivate the ability to pause the world. Okay, we live in a day where a lot is demanded of us, and a lot of factors and people are demanding our attention. So it's really hard to, even for a moment, especially when we're in public, just say stop mentally and just put everybody in freeze and ignore everybody for a second and just be with ourselves. Like, we got the phones, we got other people around us, and like, it's just hard to put a stop to that. And you'll see that most dominant guys, or the most dominant guys, are guys who are able to just like be with themselves regardless of the moment of the day, regardless of the interaction. Like, at will, they will just switch and they'll just be. Okay, so you see that. Now, you need to cultivate that ability. And the way to do that is to start just randomly, at random times, whenever you feel it's necessary and important, just put everybody in freeze and like just be with yourself for a second. Just ignore everybody and everything. And number two, once you've done this, start just testing everybody, or everything, I mean. So test, assess, and try. Try just touching stuff even. Like, try kinesthetic moves. Try like feeling how you're sitting or where you're standing, or if you'd prefer to stand or sit, or where you'd like to be, or like, okay, like, let's take this bottle and put it here instead. Like, how do I like things more? And through that experimentation, you'll start developing this awareness of how you truly want things. And it might seem silly starting with how you sit or where the bottle is, but through that channel, you're gonna start finding more and more about the things that really matter, okay? Which is opinions, values, how you move about during your day, things like that. So the target here is to be 100% in agreement internally, 100% in alignment, and 100% comfortable in your environment. In the way that you would sit in your own bed with nobody present, you need to be able to have the same security and comfort sitting in a venue of like 1,000 people with super high energy. This is what makes you truly confident and fucking, dominant. So the second bit is the assertion. So now that you know exactly what you want and how you want to be and how you want everything and everybody else to be, it's the time to assert it. Okay. Now, the way to do that is to be proactive and use your body and words. Just like guide everybody. And again, none of this is reactive. Everything is proactive. There is no force involved. Everything is almost self-evident, okay? Like, first of all, before we get to that, the way to do that is to issue commands and guide with your body. Just calmly tell people what you want them to do. If it's a girl in bed, calmly issue a command to her. Just, turn around. The way to do that is to be very slow and very matter of fact. And your voice, just like very chill and calm, and no crazy fluctuations. That is how you issue a command. All of this has no ego in it. All of this has nothing to do with like, I'm better than you, this is why I'm telling you what to do. Rather, all of this is more about, this is the real truth. All of this should be very self-evident, like I said. So always issue commands and assert your will without thinking that somebody's going to resist. However, if you face actual resistance, this is the environment giving you feedback. And that feedback is telling you one thing, that you're not truly dominant. Okay, so if you ever feel like somebody's resisting your dominance, it just means that at this moment, your dominance has like a little smidgen of ego in it. So you're not dominant, you're just being domineering. And what we're doing here, what to do here is take a step back and reassess. So again, if you get this feedback from the environment, it just means that you lost touch with your awareness. You don't know exactly what you want. So take a step back, ignore everybody and everything for a second, and get in touch with what you truly want. And you will find that if you do this cycle again and then reassess and go back into it, you will start becoming a little bit more dominant. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Grab that link for the community, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.